Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Virgin Galactic earnings tonight. We're getting ready for an explosive night. I can tell you now, I've just sold Rivian for a profit. I've just taken a 9% profit on Rivian. It popped up and I sold my Roth position for $4.25. It's now $14.29. It's gone up a bit more, but I've just sold it, and I've got my long-term position, but I've just sold off the top my Roth position of Rivian. I'm very happy to do that. So I've got a very decent amount of money tonight to buy Virgin Galactic should I need to do so. All right, sit back and relax. Virgin Galactic earnings coming up very shortly. Let me know you're here. Come into the chat, smash the like button, get involved. See you back in a few minutes time. Don't go away. It's Virgin Galactic earnings. It's going to be a big night tonight, and we shall see. At the moment they are down, and I'm looking for a bigger drop to buy some more. Here we go. It's showtime. Virgin Galactic earnings just round the corner. Welcome to the Virgin Galactic Studios. We're all ready to go. Leave me your comments on the screen. I will share them. And we are running a poll on Twitter. I'd like your thoughts of where you see the stock price going. See you back in a minute. It's Martyn Investor on Twitter. We're running a poll there right now. Let me know your thoughts. And we're waiting for the figures any second now. See you back in a minute. Welcome to the big show. We've got Virgin Galactic earnings coming up in a moment, and we will be with it live. I can tell you now, I've just taken a handsome profit from Rivian. I've got my main position going up now, but I was up 9% on my Rivian position in my Roth. I sold it, tax-free, remember. So I've got plenty of money now to buy Virgin Galactic if it goes down. Really, really great. Happy with that. We'll see what happens now with Rivian, and Virgin Galactic is running at 406. Nothing yet to buy. I'm holding my long-term position. We'll see how it pans out, and very, very exciting. See you back in just a few minutes. After the show, of course, we've got the Virgin Galactic after hours Rocket Man party as well. I've got the official Virgin Galactic song, the official unofficial Virgin Galactic song, and we're going to have a 20-minute concert tonight, Rocket Man and all the space rocket related music. See you back in a minute. Here we go. Virgin Galactic's earnings coming up very shortly, and right after the earnings as well, we will be also doing a special Rocket Man concert for you as well. It will go automatically there, but if you want the information, here is the information to that video. Get your seat, and we'll be there right after this show. We'll have a celebration and have some Rocket Man music. All right, great stuff. See you back there. We are also running a poll. I'll be right back with the Virgin Galactic poll in a couple of seconds as well. Don't you dare go away. Just a few minutes to go now before showtime. Okay, guys, we're getting ready for Virgin Galactic. We are running a poll. Here is our poll in the chat. It's a poll on Twitter. It's the SPCE Twitter poll where you see the stock going. Let me share with you right now. Here it is. This is the Twitter poll. Let me bring it into focus for you just a little bit. It's a little bit big there on the screen. Let me just zoom out. There you go. The question we're asking is, join us for the live earnings. What will the stock do on earnings? Up a bit, down a bit, rocket up, or tank down? We have had 20 votes right now. Vote on this. Leave me your thoughts where you see it going. The link to my Twitter poll is in the chat, and it's at Martyn Investor if you want to do that. And leave me your thoughts there, and I will share this with Sir Richard Branson and Virgin Galactic. What are your thoughts on the stock? Up a bit, down a bit, rocket up, or tank down? What are your thoughts? We've got 20 votes there, and I will read out the best comments as well. See you back in a minute. Oh, right after that, we have so much to share with you tonight. We have the after earnings party as well. This is the Rocket Man concert. I've got the unofficial visual version of the Virgin Galactic song, and we're doing that tonight. I will give you that in the chat as well. Here it comes. If you want to join us for that, this always gets shared on to Richard Branson, as I did the Virgin Galactic song, and it helps to spread the awareness of Virgin Galactic. So if you want to join us and share it, you are most welcome. See you back in a minute. Here we go. Virgin Galactic earnings just a few moments to go now, and we're waiting for the figures. And it's an interesting night. We've got Rocket Labs reporting as well. Right, the Twitter poll has been updated. We are getting people now voting on the Twitter poll. We've now got, let me update you and just share with you what we've got right now. We've got, these are the votes. 30% saying it's going tanking down, 35% saying it's rocketing up, 20% up a bit, and 15% down a bit. If you want to vote on that, the poll is in the chat, or at Martyn Investor on Twitter. Go and vote. Leave me your thoughts. What do you think? See you back in a minute. Virgin Galactic earnings just moments away now, and I can tell you Rocket Labs is also reporting tonight, and Rivian has beaten on earnings. I've just sold my shares, my short-term position. I've kept my long-term position, but my short-term position, I took an 8% profit on that. Very, very happy with that. It's not about beating the market. It's about consistently making profits in a relaxed, happy environment, always feeling good. Anyway, see you back in a few minutes. Okay, just 25 minutes ago now, and we can tell you now that we all know that Virgin Galactic is losing money. It's not about the numbers, it's about what's happening next week, next month. That's what it's all about. We want some positive information to come out of the call. That's more important than how much money they've lost. We all are all aware of that. Capital investment, of course, we're also going to get dilution around about $10. That is undoubtedly going to happen. So it's a stock to go up, to go back down. Somebody asked me earlier, what's that all about with dilution? How do you know that? Well, we know what they need to invest on and what they need to raise money for. It's not a bad thing, it's a responsible thing, and of course it hurts the investor short term, but long term it's a responsible thing to do. That's what we need. We need the company to ramp up, get more rockets, lower the prices, and so on. But as most people still don't understand, and I speak to people all the time at Virgin Galactic, and I speak to people on my channel, I reply to everybody's comments. Everyone is focused on the flights as being the main income. That is actually not the issue at all. Richard Branson's dream is the exploration and the families and the whole experience of the hotels, flying into the spaceport, staying at the hotels. That's where the money is. That's where the money is, where you can bring your family and share the experience. That's the bigger business, and that's what I'm focused on, and not the flights. The flights and the technology is the first part, but after that it's about the hotel's experiences and so on. Virgin has always been about experiences. I should know, I've worked for Sir Richard Branson on the Virgin experiences, so that's what I'm focused on. That's where I expect it to go. Anyway, we're just 23 minutes away. We are watching Virgin Galactic right now. We're keeping our eye on all the information. We're going to report once the report starts. I will be quiet and we'll listen in. and we're still running that poll right now. So if you want to take part on the Twitter poll, here it is. We've got 26 votes now. Here it is. We're asking you: will Virgin Galactic stock price go up a bit, down a bit, rocket up, or tank down? 26 votes, and overwhelming 38.5% of you are saying going up, over 26 votes. Okay, so if you've not taken part yet in this poll, I will give you the Twitter poll. Here it is. It's at Martyn Investor on my Twitter account, if you've not yet followed me. Now, you might be interested, if you want more free speech and be able to say a few more things, you can actually do that on Rumble. We're actually on Rumble as well. You can say a few more things, and you can also share links you can't share on YouTube. This is my Rumble stream right now. If you want to join me, I'll post it 3 times so you can see it. Okay, if you want to get that, you can. All right. Anyway, see you back in a few minutes' time. All right. Don't go away. If you want your comments on the screen, you can do that here on YouTube. I will share the best comments on the screen. If you'd like to have your say about Virgin Galactic, what you feel, I'll put them on the screen now. We've got an update from our poll. Our poll is 26 votes now, 38.5% saying rocket up. If you want... If you want to say anything about Virgin Galactic, drop it in the chat and I will share it. If you want to share links to items of information that I've missed and you want to be part of our contributors, you can't do that on YouTube, but you can do that on Rumble. So I'm live on Rumble right now. If you want to go and share links of information you'd like me to research with Virgin Galactic, I do speak to Virgin Galactic every day via different sources, but there is my Rumble link in the chat. If you want to share links and information and you'd like to have your say, you'd like to be a member of the family, you can call in via Discord. There's all the information. All right, I'll see you back in a minute. MZ just asked this question: how much of a percentage should Virgin Galactic be of a stock portfolio? Is 10% too less? Everybody's portfolio is different. Your understanding of a stock is different than everybody else's. Depends on what you need the money for, when you plan on retirement. If you've got a longer period of time, then you can make your money just by safe investing with dividend stocks on the S&P 500. If you're coming in later in life and you need a growth portfolio, high risk, Virgin Galactic, things like Tesla can do that for you. However, they come with a greater risk. So there is no answer for everyone. Anyway, that's just a brief outline of that. If anybody is from another country, let me know what country you are from, and I will welcome you in your language. So tell me what country you are from, what language that you speak, and I will welcome you in. I can do about 15 different languages. So if you'd like a welcome in your language, tell me what country you're from and what your language is, and I'll do that for you. See you back in a minute. Thank you very much indeed. The Czech Republic. What language is that? What language is that, please? Tell me, and I will love to welcome you in. What language? Czech. Okay. Welcome everybody to the Virgin Galactic Studios. Here we go. We're getting ready for the after hours party. We're going to have a Rocket Man concert tonight. In the studio, we're going to be doing all rocket related songs. That's after hours. This is the official, unofficial Virgin Galactic Studio. There is the link to my music channel. Straight after the show, after the earnings, we'll be going there. Okay, right, see you back in a minute. Okay, we have some guests in from different parts of the world. So Czechoslovakia, whatever language you're from, I can do it for you. So here we go. We're going to welcome our guests in from Czechoslovakia. Put your language in that you speak and I will do it on the screen. So here we go. Welcome to all our friends in Czechoslovakia. It's wonderful to have you here for the Virgin Galactic earnings. We go out to 15 different countries around the world. Welcome to all of you.
Vítejte mezi všemi našimi přáteli v Československu. Je skvělé, že vás tu máme za výdělky Virgin Galactic, jezdíme do 15 různých zemí po celém světě, vítáme vás všechny.
There we go. That's in Czechoslovakian and Nepalese. Is that Nepalese? Is that Nepal? Nepalese? Have I got that right? I don't have every single country, but I would like to welcome as many people as possible. Nepali. I think that's what you're saying. I'm not sure of your name, so I will do my very best. Welcome to all our friends from Nepal. Wonderful to have you here. We go out in 15 different languages around the world. Welcome to the Virgin Galactic earnings.
नेपालका हाम्रा सबै साथीहरूलाई स्वागत छ। तपाईं यहाँ आउनु भएकोमा हामी विश्वभरका विभिन्न 15 भाषाहरूमा बाहिर गइरहेका छौं। भर्जिन ग्यालेक्टिक कमाईमा स्वागत छ।
Okay, we've got just 14 minutes or so to go now. Czechoslovakia no longer exists. It's a Czech Republic now, isn't it? But anyway, welcome to you. So if you have a language that you'd like me to welcome you to, please do. We do go out to 15 different countries every day. All my videos are posted in 15 different languages. Ireland, I don't know if we have. I don't know if we have Irish. I will have a look for you. Let's see if we have Irish. Welcome to everybody. If you've just tuned in, please subscribe and ring the bell. It really helps our channel. Smash the like button as well. How many likes have we got on the video right now? It really helps the channel go out to more people. There's 74 watching with 26 likes. Please smash the like button. It really, really helps. We go live up to 10 hours a day, every single trading day. I try to be the most honest, real channel in the world. That's our aim. Okay, 13 minutes to go before the earnings. Let me just check now if we've got Irish. Let's see if we can do Irish. I don't know if we can. We may. It looks like we can. Welcome all our... I'll try that again. Welcome all our friends from around the world and in Ireland today. Welcome to the Virgin Galactic earnings. And unfortunately, it doesn't give me a voice. I'm very sorry about that, but it does give me the translation. I don't have the voice, but I have the translation. There you go. There it is for you. Sorry about that. You don't have Belgian. I have Dutch. Yes, I do. I have Dutch. And let's have a look now at the stock price. It's going back down again. I'm waiting to buy more. I've got my long-term position and my short-term position. I'm waiting to buy more. And we are watching it now. We've got the earnings in the next 15 minutes or so. So not that long to go. And our poll is now on 27 votes. We've now got 27 votes saying 37% say it's rocketing up, 22% say it's going down, and 25.9% saying it's going up a bit. If you want to vote on our poll on Twitter, you can. All right, very, very exciting stuff indeed. Here you go. All right, let me give you the Twitter poll there. If you want to take part, share it, retweet it. Let's get the word out. Hola, amigo. Welcome to you. Let me get back up to here. Just a few minutes to go now. Hola, that says... Diego Torres, welcome to you. What other languages do we have? Let's have a look. We have, I think we had Belgium. So we'll do Dutch. Here we go. Welcome our friends from Belgium. I know we have this one, so let's do Dutch right now. Okay. Welcome our friends from Belgium who speak Dutch. Welcome to the Virgin Galactic earnings.
Welkom onze vrienden uit België die Nederlands spreken. Welkom bij de Virgin Galactic verdiensten.
There we go. Right, Virgin Galactic stock is going down. I'm ready to buy now. I've made my profits tonight. I'm very, very happy. I took 8% out of Rivian from my short-term position. I'm very happy with that. Virgin Galactic, I believe, is only worth $3 right now. However, I do believe it'll be $100 once it starts to fly. Not because that's its value, because that's how it will trade. So I'm waiting to buy some more. I've got plenty of money to buy some more. We can't go through the earnings if they're out in 30 minutes on the website. Why can't we go for the earnings? They are out because we are waiting for the call. The way we present our show is we listen in for the earnings call. You are very welcome to read the website, but we prefer to greet our guests and get ready for the earnings call. We can see what the stock is doing. We're all individually looking at, we know what the balance sheet is. I study the balance sheet and the money and the finances of Virgin Galactic. What we're waiting to do is hear from the CEO and the CFO from Virgin Galactic, and that's just a few minutes away now. I would pay to hear this words from your mouth yourself, Martin. I'm afraid I can't do that, Schifferle Stephen. I can't speak Dutch. I do apologize. All right, okay. So the stock price is going down. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want because we know they're losing money. It's not about that. It's about what they say coming up. So it's no surprise that they'll be losing money. And that's why I've just taken profits from Rivian. And I'm about to buy some more Virgin Galactic. So here we go. We've got a few minutes to go. So if you want to have your say and share some links for things for me to research, here is our stream right now on Rumble. Rumble allows you to share links in the chat, and I will happily share your links and do more research on things if you want me to. There is Rumble running right now, and I've just given you the link for it if you want to send that in. Jojo S, thank you very much. He'll do anything for a super chat. Well, I wouldn't say that. But anyway, we are getting ready for our after hours party tonight. We've already got people waiting in the studio. 3 watching, ready. That's cool. Here is the Rocket Man concert after hours. And I'll give it to you right now. There it is in the chat. And what it actually looks like is this. This is it right now. This is the Rocket Man concert. This is where we'll be right after the show. Okay, we've got just a few minutes to go now before Virgin Galactic start to speak. Okay. My portfolio is looking good. It's not about making money. It's about holding your money. Anyone can make money on the stock market. The hard part is to keep it. All right, Virgin Galactic, just a few moments to go now, and we'll be live with it. Fantastic. We have a big giveaway. We have our biggest ever giveaway. We're giving away $125 in cash, and we're giving away 15 hours of one-on-one training with our training expert, Ed Nevius, all about reading candles, charts, and so on and so forth. It's free to enter, free for all. You can get as many tickets as you like. Here it is. Here is our best ever giveaway. $125 in cash. There you go. This is what it looks like. If you want to take part in our giveaway, there it is. There's our giveaway. All you got to do is scroll down here and turn these actions into tickets. Every day we have more. The competition ends on Friday. There are 42 people in the competition. The entries are how many tickets that have been given away. It's completely free, and we're giving away $125 in cash. Let me give you the link again in case you missed it. There you go. And you don't want to miss that, do you? All right, it's our best ever giveaway. Virgin Galactic earnings, just a few moments to go now. We're listening in, and the audio should be coming out very, very soon from Virgin Galactic. Play a bit of music while we're waiting. Here we go. We've got 4 minutes to go now, so we're going to line up the studio. And what we're going to do, we're going to prepare now for Virgin Galactic's earnings. So we're going to bring up this screen. We're loading screens. We're going to keep the price on the screen so we can see what's going on. We'll have to try to minimize this a little bit because we want to keep the share price on the screen, but we don't want it to take over the slides, okay? So we'll put that up top right-hand corner out of the way so we can keep our eye on that. Hopefully that won't be in the way. If I have to move it, then I will. But we're all ready to rock and roll. Here we go. The audio's coming through. We're set. Virgin Galactic now. I'm going to take away... in fact, I'm going to leave the clock. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to take away the clock. There we go, because we know what's about to happen. We're all set and ready to rock and roll. And we're looking good. We're looking good now. All right. So just a few moments to go now before the earnings begins. Not that long to go. Just a couple of moments to go, and as soon as it starts, we will bring it to you. You won't miss anything at all. We are now just down to the last couple of minutes. And Virgin Galactic earnings, we're getting audio through. We're hearing what's going on, so we're all good. And we're just waiting now for the earnings to begin. Excellent stuff. All right, so now we're down to the last minute. I'm going to give you one more chance if you want to take part in our best ever giveaway. It's $125 in cash, 15 hours of one-on-one training, all for free. It's free to enter, free for all. There is the link. If you want to take part in our Twitter poll and speak to me on Twitter regularly, you can do. Here's our poll we're running. Down to 45 seconds to go. There is the poll. There it is. And if you want to join us right at the end of the show for the Rocket Man concert, and it'll go on my music channel, and you can make a special request dedication for your favorite Rocket Man songs, of course. And that's all coming up in just a few moments' time. So here we go. We'll listen in now. Still playing the audio. So I'm going to mute this now. Here we go. I'm listening in. I've got the audio primed and ready to rock and roll. And any moment now, the earnings will begin. And we're listening in. We're paying close attention. And it's not about the balance sheet right now. It's about what they say, where we're going. Virgin Galactic, just moments away. As soon as they bring it, go live, you will have it in the next few seconds. Any second now, it'll begin. Welcome, everybody. And we want to really promote Virgin Galactic tonight. So after hours, join us for the Virgin Galactic Rocket Man concert. I was voted by Elton John as the world piano man. And I built a TV studio here all around Virgin Galactic. And I want to really get the word out about Virgin Galactic. So if you join me on the concert tonight, I will do your favorite Rocket Man requests. And if you share it on Twitter and share it on wherever your social media, more people will get to hear about Virgin Galactic. And that's my aim. I'm very passionate and bullish on Virgin Galactic. Very excited. And I plan on flying with Virgin Galactic as well. So let's get ready to rock and roll. Martin, let's see Ali's chart if we have time. No, it's about to start now, I'm afraid. I can't really bring up the chart now. Any second now, they'll start the call, and I want to be there right at the beginning. They are late tonight. That's not good. No reason why. But we are with it. We're watching closely, listening in. Here we go.
My name is Joel, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to Virgin Galactic's first quarter 2023 earnings conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you'd like to withdraw your question, please press star followed by the number 2. Thank you. I'll now turn the call over to Eric Cerny, Vice President of Investor Relations.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Virgin Galactic's first quarter 2023 earnings conference call. On the call with me today are Michael Colglazier, Chief Executive Officer, and Doug Ahrens, Chief Financial Officer. Following prepared remarks from Michael and Doug, we will open the call for questions. Our press release and slide presentation that will accompany today's remarks are available on our investor relations website. Please see slide 2 of the presentation for our safe harbor disclaimer. During today's call, we may make certain forward-looking statements. These statements are based on current expectations and assumptions, and as a result, are subject to risks and uncertainties. Many factors could cause actual events to differ materially from the forward-looking statements made on this call. For more information about these risks and uncertainties, please refer to the risk company's SEC filings made from time to time. You are cautioned not to put undue reliance on forward-looking statements, and the company specifically disclaims any obligation to update the forward-looking statements that may be discussed during this call, whether as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise. Please also note that we will refer to certain non-GAAP financial information on today's call. Please refer to our earnings release for a reconciliation of these non-GAAP financial metrics. With that, I would like to turn the call over to Michael. Michael, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our first quarter earnings call. We last spoke with you just 2 months ago, and within that short period of time, we have made significant progress. As you saw yesterday, we are at a defining point for the company. We announced our return to space with our Unity 25 mission planned for late May, and it will build from there. We will be opening access to space and flying scientific researchers and civilian astronauts on a regular basis, beginning with our Galactic 1 flight planned for late June. Turning to our agenda on slide 3, I'll start with our commercial spaceline operations, followed by an update on our future fleet development, before turning the call over to Doug, who will provide a financial review and commentary on our economic model. Following our prepared remarks, we'll open the call to take your questions. So let's turn to slide 4, commercial spaceline operations. Our team completed ground testing of our mothership in February, including fit checks where we validated modifications to the upgraded launch pylon on VMS Eve. We then conducted several validation flights with VMS Eve in both solo and mated configurations. These flights validated enhancements that were made to increase Eve's flight rate capability and overall service life. Test points included functional checks of the new horizontal stabilizers, upgraded avionics, and mechanical systems. On April 26th, we successfully completed a glide flight above Spaceport America, taking Unity up to 47,000 feet and releasing the vehicle to glide back to the runway. That flight verified the performance of VSS Unity in the glide phase, including the handling qualities and flight controls of the spaceship. The ability to conduct these tests without the need for rocket power further highlights one of the many benefits of our distinctive flight system. We are very pleased with the way both our ships performed, and the flight provided the necessary data to clear the vehicles for our next mission, Unity 25. Unity 25, scheduled for late May, will mark our return to space with 2 pilots and 4 Virgin Galactic mission specialists making a final assessment of the full spaceflight and customer experience before opening commercial service later this quarter. Our first commercial flight, Galactic 1, is planned for late June and will be a scientific research flight with members of the Italian Air Force. We plan to follow Galactic 1 with both civilian astronaut and research customers flying on regular intervals thereafter. Turning to slide 5, as we shared in February, our commercial spaceline has 2 major areas of focus. The first is flying our current ships, VMS Eve and VSS Unity, on a recurring basis. We are removing barriers to allow private citizens and scientific researchers unprecedented access to space. The second focus is progressing the development of our future fleet, particularly the Delta-class spaceships, which will be the key driver of revenue growth and profitability as we scale the business over the long term. On our last call, we shared a high-level overview of the production roadmap associated with this multi-year fleet development program. With our manufacturing strategy and primary suppliers in place, 2023 is focused on completing designs for the Delta spaceships, building the required tooling, and beginning the parts fabrication for the ships. As we move into 2024, we anticipate parts fabrication will continue, and the assembly phase for the Delta-class spaceships will also begin using the subassemblies from our suppliers. We are working through the interior design, production layout, and fit-out phases of our manufacturing facility in Phoenix, Arizona, to support the final assembly of the Deltas. This facility is expected to be operational in 2024. We can continue to operate on a timeline that supports testing in 2025 in advance of the first Delta ship entering commercial service in 2026. Doug is going to share some of the compelling economics behind the Delta program in his financial review. Given the strong returns we see in the Delta class, investing in this program is our top priority to drive future growth and profitability. At the same time, we recognize that financial markets are more challenged today, and this requires us to maintain optionality, exercise cost discipline, and be strategic in how we deploy our capital. As we said before, we have flexibility around the sequencing of our various programs, and Doug will be able to share an example as part of his remarks. And with that, Doug, let's turn the call over to you.
Thanks, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. Turning to slide 6 and our financial results for the first quarter. We generated revenue of $392,000, driven by future astronaut membership fees. Operating expenses were $164 million, compared to $92 million in the prior year period. The increase is primarily attributable to a $58 million increase in R&D costs tied to engineering work for our future fleet and the enhancement period on the current fleet. SG&A increased $13 million, primarily driven by non-recurring legal and severance costs, as well as investments in our supply chain and other support organizations as we scale the business. We reported a GAAP net loss of $159 million compared to $93 million in the prior year period, primarily driven by higher R&D costs. Adjusted EBITDA was negative $140 million in the first quarter compared to negative $77 million in the prior year period. Moving to slide 7, free cash flow was negative $139 million in the first quarter, compared to negative $68 million in the same period last year. Our balance sheet remains strong, with $874 million in cash, cash equivalents, and marketable securities. During the quarter, we raised $32 million in gross proceeds through the issuance of 5.8 million shares as part of our at-the-market, or ATM, equity offering program. We are committed to maintaining a strong balance sheet while prudently investing in growth initiatives where we see the highest returns. To that end, we've often said that the Delta class will be the driver of revenue growth and profitability for the company. So let's turn to slide 8, and I'll share additional detail around our Delta ships that illustrates the strong financial return that we anticipate these ships will bring to the company. We expect very attractive margins from the operation of our 6-seat Delta class vehicles. As we begin to fly our recently ticketed astronauts with a price of $450,000 or more per seat, we expect to generate at least $2.7 million in revenue for each space flight. We have relatively low variable costs of approximately $400,000 per space flight, including the rocket motor for the spaceship, fuel for the mothership, and training and hospitality costs for the astronauts. Following the non-recurring costs associated with the development of the first Delta ship, we anticipate the cost to produce an incremental Delta ship will be in the range of $50 to $60 million. Assuming a useful life of at least 500 flights per ship, we would estimate the amortized cost of the spaceship to be approximately $100,000 to $120,000 per flight. Extending that analysis, following the non-recurring development costs associated with the first mothership, if we were to include amortized costs of both the mothership and the Delta spaceship to each passenger flight, we expect to see margins exceeding 75%. Looking at this another way, the payback period for each incremental Delta ship is expected to be approximately 6 months, assuming a weekly flight cadence. With such attractive economics associated with the Delta class, we remain laser-focused on the progression of the program. This is why the production model we are pursuing for our unique spaceflight system is so advantageous, as it delivers strong cash flow-through and significant return on investment as we scale the fleet. As we drive our strategic programs forward, we are also managing our spending in the back half of the year to protect our strong balance sheet. For the second quarter, we forecast free cash flow to be in the range of negative $130 million to negative $140 million. In the third and fourth quarters, we anticipate that our free cash flow will improve and be in the range of negative $120 million to negative $130 million per quarter. Clearly, the current economic environment demands operational flexibility. We are fortunate to have effective levers that can be employed to manage costs. One of these levers is adjusting the sequence of our various programs. As an example, given the strong performance of our mothership following the modification period, VMS Eve now has the capability to carry the initial Delta ships through their flight test programs. This increased capacity with Eve enables us to sequence our next-generation mothership to enter service later than originally planned, but still in time for the ramp of the Delta fleet. This is just one example of where we are leveraging our flexibility to manage spending while simultaneously executing on our future growth drivers. We continue to monitor capital market conditions and are committed to maintaining a strong balance sheet in order to fulfill our business priorities. With that, I'll hand the call back to Michael for some closing comments.
Thanks, Doug. The excitement continues to build, and we are finally at the cusp of what will be a defining moment for our company, commercial spaceline operations. We are starting regular flights to space beginning this month. We are building a production system that will deliver Delta ships with excellent economic returns, and we are delivering a best-in-class astronaut experience. We are being vigilant with our cost management, while at the same time ensuring continued focus on our core programs. We have multiple paths available to us as we progress forward to become a strong, profitable, and inspiring company at the vanguard of a new industry. With that, we'll turn to questions. Operator, we're ready to begin the Q&A portion of the call.
Absolutely. We will now begin the Q&A session. Again, if you'd like to ask a question on today's call, you can do so by dialing *1. If you'd like to remove that question for any reason, you can dial *2. As a reminder, if you're using a speakerphone, please remember to pick up your handset before asking your question. The first question is from the line of Greg Conrad with Jefferies. You may proceed.
Good evening.
Hi, Greg.
Maybe just to start, I'll always appreciate the additional information, but just in terms of the forward-looking free cash flow usage, you have a modest improvement in H2, and you talked about that a little bit. Can you talk about, where we see that, whether it's, R&D coming down, is it revenue coming online? You mentioned Eve, where will we see it in the financials? And then kind of with that, should we think about H1 free cash flow usage as kind of the peak and, maybe H2 kind of the run rate as we go into next year?
Okay, thanks, Greg. This is Doug. So what we are seeing in terms of our spending is really in the R&D coming down. The first thing that's happening is we've completed the enhancement period and the investment associated with that around Eve and Unity. So now they're moving into commercial service, so we don't have to be spending so much on that. And then secondly, we talked about the sequencing of the program spending on the future fleet. So we're focused on the Delta program, which is first and foremost, and then we have this opportunity to shift the timing of the spending on the mothership, the new mothership, into the future. So those are some of the things that you see as kind of larger levers that are changing the R&D rather than a revenue impact, as you asked about. So we did give guidance through the second half of this year, and while we're not giving guidance past that, I think it is reasonable to assume that this is an appropriate level of spending going forward, and we may toggle that up or down as we see opportunities, and always focused on the growth engine of the company and adjusting our spending as appropriate. There may be some lumps in there if something comes along, like some tooling in a particular quarter, but I think that's a reasonable spending level to assume for the foreseeable future. The key is we're going to keep flexibility, and we have levers that we can continue to exercise up or down as needed.
And then just on Delta, I mean, you've made obviously a lot of announcements the past 2 quarters around the supply chain and production. When you think about that 50 to 60 million, for the recurring part per Delta, how much of that's locked in, and then what production expectation, is assumed within that 50 to 60 million?
Sorry, Greg, just for clarity, how much is locked in and how much is production? Could you just clarify the question for me? Happy to answer.
Yeah, so, I mean, you obviously have reached out to the supply chain. What percentage, of the cost of building that do you have, 100% visibility into? And then obviously, there's some fixed costs. So are you assuming, I know you said you have capacity for 6 a year. I mean, does that assume you get to that 6? Is it 3? Just thinking about, fixed costs around production.
Doug, you want to take this one?
Sure. We are quite a ways through the planning and estimating process with our suppliers, and in the beginning it's time and materials, and then it moves to a firm fixed price kind of basis. But we're moving through the scoping and scheduling and refining those estimates to the point where we were able to give that out today with a range we were comfortable with based on what we know today. It's not tied to any particular production level. The way to think about it, right, is there's the NRE for the first one, the development cost, and then the per ship cost. When we think about the labor and the materials to produce each incremental one is the range we gave you, which was $50 to $60 million. It isn't, in our mind, particularly sensitive to the volume, given the range we provided.
And just for clarity, the volume we expect, we're building the Phoenix facility to handle 4 to 6 ships on a yearly basis. We'll ramp up on the first year of that. But that gives you a range of volume that we expect to produce in that facility that matches against these numbers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mike Leshock with KeyBanc Capital Markets. You may proceed.
Hey, good afternoon. I wanted to start following up on the peak cash burn. It appears we're at or near the peak rate, given some of the guidance that you provided. In the past, you talked about the flexibility that you have, and you gave the example here. But as I'm looking at the guidance for the next 3 quarters, does that assume that the investments that you have planned are scheduled and going as we thought would progress 3 months ago, or have you incorporated any flexibility into that cash burn guidance?
The main thing that is in there that changed was the sequencing of the mothership. If you think about the phases of spending on each program, for example, the Delta class, there's an engineering phase and then some tooling investments, and then you move into parts fabrication. And by staging these in such a way that the next mothership follows that peak spending on the Delta class program, it allows us to kind of layer in the work on the mothership and maintain roughly that level of spend is what we're modeling today. So I would say, plus or minus, right, there can be some lumps as I talked about it, but fundamentally it's maintaining the same growth engine and those key deliverables that we have talked about before, just staggering the spending so they're not laying on top of each other and creating a peak in 2024, as I indicated last time. This is allowing us to smooth that out by staging one after the other.
This is Michael. I'll just kick in with, hey, what enabled us to do that now? Excuse me. So originally we planned to have Eve, our mothership that's in service, just flying Unity to space and bring the next generation mothership in time to fly the test flight program of the Deltas, which would have the mothership showing up as early as 2025. We're quite happy with how Eve came through the modification program. And when you look at the capacity we have with Eve, it can fly far more frequently than Unity can fly. And so we have enough capacity within our existing mothership to carry us through the Delta class test program. So that gave us the opportunity to then sequence the next generation mothership. We don't need it for the flight test program. We do need it when we're ramping up the Delta class fleet. And so what you're seeing here is our taking advantage of that opportunity and just kind of having a more consistent cash burn going through the next couple of years.
And then looking longer term on some of the Delta class testing, are there any technological advancements or things you've learned over the past few years from the Unity and Eve testing that could potentially reduce the time and or the number of flights that you might need for Delta class testing, or do you expect it to be a similar process as we've seen in the past?
It will definitely be a faster, I'd say much faster test program than what you saw in Unity, which happened over many, many years. So we expect, to start that test program in 25 and conclude that test program in 26. So, within a year-ish or so. And the main things that we're changing, you may have heard from us in the past, we're keeping the look, the shape, technically the outer mold line of the vehicle the same. We are changing the composite system and moving with a high temp composite with that. That gives us the ability to reduce weight in a variety of places, change the way we manage the thermal forces upon the ship. We will make updates into our avionics packages, things like that, and generally take advantage of all the learning that we've had across the flight test program and across the development of Imagine. All those things combined give us confidence to design a ship that will be able to turn on a weekly basis, which is, versus Unity, which currently turns on a 1 month basis. So, but I think the flight test program itself will be constrained within, roundly a year.
That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Matt Akers with Wells Fargo. You may proceed.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Thanks for the question. I wanted to follow up on the 50 to 60 million costs for the Delta class ship. I think, what we usually see on the commercial aircraft side is, the first aircraft is much more expensive, then the second one is, a little bit less, and it sort of goes down steeply, and then, there's a learning curve. So I guess, are you expecting a similar learning curve on these? And if so, is that 50, 60 million like the cost of ship 2, or is it like somewhere kind of further down the learning curve?
I don't think it will be too far down the learning curve, and I think the range we're giving is generally a good one. We've built, this isn't a from scratch design, right? We have a flying ship that is fundamentally the same as what we're building here, and so that advances our confidence in all things far more than you would see on kind of a clean sheet new ship that's being built. So what we are planning though is to have the tooling done, so that's going to stay the same. We feel confident then that keeps the parts generally in the same piece as they're doing. Our primary suppliers for Delta in Bell and Carbon will be adding those parts up into major sub-assemblies. They'll have a bit of up and down with that, but those are sophisticated companies that should be able to dial that in fairly quickly. And then we'll final assemble these in Phoenix. And we plan to open up the Phoenix facility a little early, actually get in there ourselves and I'll call it rehearse, if you will, before the actual sub-assemblies arrive, just so we start to dial in the processes we'll use so that we're a little bit quicker off the gate. But I think there will be a little bit of difference in the time that it takes us to assemble the first couple that will be our flight test vehicles. But then as we start, and we have time with those flight test vehicles, and then as we start to really move into the production side of that, we do expect to be fairly well dialed in.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess, is there a way to think about sort of what percentage of the parts or the content is kind of common to the prior design, or how much is new?
Well, we could probably come back with a little bit more specifics of that. Generally, the ship is very common, right? It's same outer mold line, same feathering design, generally the same aerodynamic handling facility there. What we are doing, as I said, we're changing the composite materials. We're upgrading systems, avionic systems, mechanical systems, so that the general ability to fly and maintain and turn the ships are there. So those are the real changes that are going in. I don't have I'll call it a part count there. What we are doing is when we change the composite system, we do go back in and touch most parts with that, especially anything carbon is getting retouched. But we know what we want the function of the part to be. We just have to go through the process with a new material system.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Oliver Chen from TD Cowen. You may proceed.
Hi there. This
Hello,
is
Oliver.
Katie on for Oliver Chin. Hi, how's it going? Thanks so much for taking our question. Can you discuss some more of that construction progress with the Delta Class's manufacturing facility in Phoenix? Are there any other major milestones ahead that you're looking forward to, and sort of what's the timeline on that?
Sure. You saw I'll call it a rendering in our presentation there of that facility. Probably at our next call, we'll bring some just in-progress construction photos just to share as well. But the general timetable in this year, outside of the Phoenix facility, is when tools are being built and parts are starting to be fabricated. So we're not using the Phoenix facility this year. We're doing the designs here in Orange County in partnership with Bell and Carbon. Bell and Carbon are building tools and beginning to knock out the parts for those tools. In 2024, while that parts fabrication is continuing and being put into sub-assemblies with Bell and with Carbon, the Phoenix facility will become operational for us, and those assemblies and parts will begin to arrive in Phoenix. That will start us in 2024. So that's when you'll see that plant actually. 5 will continue the assembly of the initial vehicle that we'll use in flight testing, and then we'll actually start testing that. We'll come in, have Eve come in, pick that vehicle, flight test vehicles. We'll pick up out of Phoenix and bring those to Spaceport America, where they will go through their ground and flight testing. And then that leads into 2026, where we'll conclude through the testing program and move into commercial service with the early ships.
Okay, got it. That's very helpful. Thank you. And then just briefly on ticket sales, do you plan to issue more tickets for sale, and how have those ticket sales through your travel agent partner, how have those been trending? Thank you.
You're welcome, Katie. So we have generally held our sales process. Just as you know, we have a 3+ year backlog already with the 800 or so that we have. We've seen minimal cancellations in that, and we do expect to open sales back up after we start flying. So you've heard us today talk about Galactic 1 will be the start of commercial service, and then we will start with civilian astronauts and then on a recurring basis. So as we get a few flights under our belt and get momentum there, we will go ahead, and when we have a kind of clear eye towards I'll call it the length of time somebody would be on the manifest, then we'll go ahead and open sales back up. But right now, I would expect the Virtuoso group is the group you're talking about. I would expect that they will make their sales push following our Galactic 1 and Galactic 2 flights, where we're kind of in the market with momentum, makes it a little easier on their side.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Miles Walton with Wolfe Research. You may proceed.
Thanks. Good evening.
Hi, Miles.
And thanks for the color on the economics on a flight basis. I was curious, you lay out some of the variable economics. A couple of the items that weren't in here, if you could just touch on insurance on a per flight basis, maintenance, the ground operations costs, all three of those I kind of think of as variable. Maybe you're thinking the ground operations is more fixed. But can you size those relative to the 400,000 you have listed on the slide?
Yeah, there's multiple pieces there. This is Doug. So the insurance actually we did include in that cost. So that's in the 400K. There's fairly small cost there relative to other components, but that's included. In terms of the ground operations, other fixed costs, what we are outlining for you is something similar to a contribution margin, right, for our after the variable costs. So it's contribution towards our fixed costs, such as the ground operations, which would be one of our larger costs running the company and maintaining that flight cadence. We didn't lay that out for you yet in terms of what that cost would be per flight. That's something that as we get more practice and we get more efficient and we scale, we'll have better visibility into. But we have estimates, but that'll be what our team will be focused on, is that efficiency and getting the economies of scale there. So I think it's a little premature to put that out there, but it's something we'll be focused on to make sure we get the best economics we can out of each flight.
And Doug, what about maintenance? I would think that's variable, but maybe you think of it as more fixed.
Yeah, they put that in the fixed costs as well. So you think of it as all the costs associated with our spaceport. So out there we have our technical operations team, and we have our space missions teams that support maintenance and the flight crew and all of these things, which are fundamentally fixed. Those are costs that would be there if we have a flight on a day or not. So we looked at it that way. But they're important ones to manage as we go forward. But I did put those in the fixed bucket for this discussion.
Okay, and then maybe a higher level one, Michael. The FAA mandate around dual mandates for commercial human space flight, I think, still expires in October. What's sort of your expectation as to how that gets renewed? If it doesn't get renewed, what does it mean? And do you anticipate any impact to sort of your operating plan over the next couple of years?
Are you talking the learning period, Miles?
Yeah, the dual mandate they have to both ensure safety as well as promote human spaceflight.
Right. Just for clarity, you're not talking our operating licenses here. So
no, not your operating license, just the FAA mandate.
Yep. So I think you know this, right? We've partnered with the FAA from the very foundation of this program, all the way through having the FAA in our mission control at each step along the way. We typically, I'd say shorthand that is the learning period that's gone on with commercial space is set to expire. There's a lot of review with government, with the FAA, with industry. We are part of those conversations along the way. From our standpoint, obviously it's early in commercial space, and of course we and our other industry partners are continuing to learn. However, wherever the FAA chooses to go and whether the government chooses to go with that, we feel we will be continuing our operation just fine in those regards. So we maintain an active voice. Mike Moses, our president, is chair on the safety committee for ComStack, and I think those are really good dialogues that are going on. I see it as an important part of evolving commercial space as an industry, but I don't see it in the way, one way or the other, really, to our business model and how we'll grow.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much.
Thanks, Miles.
Thank you. Again, if you'd like to ask a question on today's call, you can do so by dialing *1. The next question is from the line of Kristine Liwag with Morgan Stanley. You may proceed.
Hey, good evening, guys.
Evening, Christine.
Maybe I could start off with Unity. I know a lot of the questions have been focused on Delta today, and that might be my follow-up question. But on Unity, with Unity 24 tests last month, it's very encouraging to see you complete these tests. How have the data from Unity 24 compared to your expectations? And do you anticipate to make any tweaks between now and the Unity 25 test later this month?
Thanks for the question, Christine. And we're all really proud and excited for Unity. And of course, momentum is very high and continues to build in the company for these flights. So the glide flight was an important flight for us, but I'd call it was a time where we were validating the changes that had been made. So we were expecting the flight to perform just as we thought. It did perform as we thought. And so it was a very successful flight for us, validating the data, giving us the data to analyze that came through clean. And so we've cleared ourselves to move forward. And what's happening now is, we're only, 2.5 weeks away or so from the Unity 25 flight. This point, this is pretty much dialed into the technical operations team moving through their procedures. So nothing we are planning to add at a level of materiality between here and there.
Great, that's really helpful color. And then a few follow-up questions on Delta. So when you talked about the recurring expected cost of 50 to 60 million, at what unit delta do you anticipate you get to that 50 to 60 million dollar cost? Is this, after a full year of production? Is it after a few units? Or are we talking about, closer to 2030 when you've had a few years of full production of Delta?
Thanks, Christine. This is Doug. So Michael touched on part of this earlier about the learning curve, and we haven't made dramatic changes to things like the outer mold line, and we're making some refinements how we manufacture and such to the ship, which helps us in terms of not starting with a clean sheet of paper. The other thing I might mention is we're leveraging really the latest digital technologies to partner with our suppliers. So we are using all the same databases, working through all of the practical side of manufacturing so that we streamline that process as much as possible and eliminate surprises. So, again, these are things that help us go much faster than we have in the past. So it shouldn't be too long into that, the manufacturing cycle where we expect to see those types of costs. So, we'd be a short ways in. I wouldn't put a specific number on it, but we expect to be much faster than we've been before, and hitting that learning curve benefits much earlier in the cycle than you might otherwise expect.
Yes, we well before 2030, right? I think the first two vehicles out, which will be embedded in our flight test program, I'm sure we'll do learning on those, and then as you shift into more of kind of a run rate effort, that should be a much faster ramp up in learning.
That's really helpful. And in terms of productions, with your conversations with suppliers and your partners